Hey guys, well we reached part 4 here of this new video series on YouTube on buying used farm equipment. I'm hoping there's not a lot of wind noise. I just had to get outside today and take a drive up in the fields. It's about 55-60 degrees today, and this is the first time it's been this warm in about a week or more. It's been kind of sub-zero weather for us, so nice day to get out and go for a drive in the fields. Anyway, I'm on part 4 here. This is going to be selling your used farm equipment and the different ways to sell your used farm equipment. Let me put my hood up. Maybe that'll block some of the wind. All right, so you have used equipment that you want to sell. Like I said, in this day and age with technology and all of the internet websites that are out there to sell your used equipment, you have pretty many options. Craigslist is a good option. Like I say, the new Facebook Marketplace seems pretty good. You have ads in your local farm papers, your local newspapers. It's kind of endless as all the places you can advertise, and that's kind of the first tip and trick. If you have something that you want to sell, your best bet is to get it on as many different places so you can get the most clicks and the most interest in it, and hopefully lead to a phone call and somebody that wants to come out and look at it. So as far as private selling, that's exactly the way to go about it. Private sale. Advertise it yourself. Put a good description in the ad. I get a lot of look at a lot of ads, and people don't have some of the more common things in the ads, and I don't know if it's on purpose. They'll post a picture of a tractor, and basically in the description it'll just say runs good, call this number. It's good to include some basic information because that'll save you a lot of time on getting phone calls from people that probably wouldn't ordinarily call if there was one of the things they didn't like about it. The hours is a big thing. Putting the hours on and telling people how many hours are on the machine, that helps. A lot of times if you just put the picture up and no hours or any information like that, you'll have a lot of people calling, and you never know if it's something that has 12,000 hours on it but it looks nice. You might get a lot of people calling, and then when they hear that, they'll want to stay away from it. So that's just one thing that I like to see when I'm shopping for something, and also when I sell, I make sure it has a good description: year, tire size, hours, some of the basic things that people might not be familiar with. Put the size of the engine on there, put which kind of transmission it is if your pictures aren't clear. So definitely a good description is going to help draw probably more interest than just a quick post it and forget about it. The next thing is pictures. Make sure you have a lot of good pictures, clear pictures. How many times you see on Craigslist they don't have the camera the right way, or the pictures are upside down, or they're washed out, or it looks like they did it at night with a flashlight. It's going to be hard to get what you want for your equipment if your pictures aren't nice. I'd say definitely have a good camera, take a lot of different pictures, take many different angles of pictures. And the other thing I try to do when I sell stuff, if there is a problem, I do try to take a picture of it. Let's say there's a weld that's needs to be re-welded, a spot. It's a good idea to take a picture of that, because if somebody takes the time to come out and look at your equipment, and they see that, it's gonna right away cause a strike against whatever you're selling. If you're upfront with people and can photograph or describe any of the issues that it has, you're going to be better off, and you're going to get people that are interested regardless what's the matter calling you. They have looked it over and they can see the problem, and they might decide that they can fix it themselves, and it's not a big deal. So like I said, good pictures, good description, good information, and cross post over many different sites, and you should be off to a good start. Now the next thing is your price. Never put the final price in that you want to get for your equipment. Now that's kind of common knowledge, everybody knows that. You always priced a little higher, but some people don't do that. You have the price is firm crowd, that the price they put on the ad is the price that they want, and they're not going to budge on it. I'd always say price at I don't know, it depends on what it is, but I always try to go $500-600 more, just to give yourself some room for negotiation. And most people are going to negotiate with you. Certain items I'll put prices firm, and that's more or less if I'm selling hay or something like that. But most farm equipment, people want to negotiate, and they expect to negotiate. And if you want to have a sale, be ready for it and expect it. Like I said, people want to negotiate. Make sure that's figured into your price. The other thing is post a price. A lot of times you see ads and nobody posts a price, and it could be anything, and then you call, and then all of a sudden it's some outrageous, unreasonable price, and then you're never going to get people out to see. Like I say, the more upfront and honest you are, the better off you're going to be with selling your equipment. So now the second way to sell equipment is auctions. You can, if it all depends. There's many different types of auctions, and I don't know if this will take another video with the different kinds of auctions. But of course there is, if you have a farm auction on your property and you're going to sell all your equipment. That I would never want to have an auction if I would quit, or if I'd have any issues, just because it's like I say, you're dealing with a middleman. But auctions like that can be useful for volume. If you have tons of stuff and it would take you years to sell everything that you have, and you don't have years, it's basically one day and all your stuff is gone, or in a matter of a week all your stuff is gone. So it all depends on what your situation is for auctions. Now, consignment auctions, there's another way you can sell your equipment. A lot of people take their equipment to consignment auctions. Many dealers will have a consignment auction. Different auctioneers will have their annual consignment auction. And as a buyer, I recommend staying away from consignment auctions unless it's a specific piece of equipment that you know, and you can pretty well know the history of it. The reason I don't like consignment auctions, as a buyer, first of all, how many times have you heard somebody say, "Oh, it's shot, I'm going to take it out to the auction," or it has all these kind of problems, I think I'm just going to take it out to the auction and get what I get for it. It's been my experience that most consignment auctions, people are looking to dump stuff that's not always the best, in always the best condition. Now, like I say, there are some good things and there are some bad things, but most times what I hear, that's the place where you take the stuff that you don't want to have to try to sell to somebody and have all kinds of problems. The only thing with consignment auctions is, there again, they're taking money out of it's dealing with a middleman. It costs money. Yes, you might get a buyer, and yes, you may not have to deal with selling your equipment, but like I say, it's just a risk you take, and it could bring anything. You could get top dollar, or you could get less than you wanted. So yeah, there are certain situations where auctions will work to sell stuff, depending on what you're doing, and it's just up to you and what your situation is. Of course, you have the option to trade equipment into a dealer, and some people, they don't mind doing that. That's the way they do things. It seems like when people own equipment for many years, there's two different ways. It seems like people, they either get attached to it and it's worth so much to them, or they've had it for so long they can't see how it's going to be worth anything to anybody. Just because they owned it so long, they wore it right out, and they figure it's worth nothing, and anything they get on a trade is a plus. So like I say, it's up to the individual which route you want to go. I wouldn't trade anything in at this point, just because I don't like getting stuck with trade-in value when I have sold quite a bit of equipment over the years and had pretty good success so far. So the other way, and I have done it this way too, and it's a really helpful way. Some dealers will let you put your equipment there on consignment. Now, yes, you are dealing with the middleman. You have to go through the dealer, but depending on your dealer, it's not going to be too bad of a deal, because when you think about it, you take your equipment to the dealer, or they pick it up, they put it on their lot, they're going to charge you a percentage to sell it for you. Now again, it depends on the dealer. Some dealers will advertise it on the internet, on their website. They might even put it up on Tractor House, depending on what it is. They're paying to advertise your equipment, and it's getting a lot more foot traffic, people driving by, people going there, than if it's just sitting out at your road, at your farm, with a for sale sign on it. I have sold equipment on consignment at my one local dealer pretty often, and I've had pretty good success with that. Now again, that was when I had left over at my dad's. I didn't have much time, that I wanted to be out of there, and I didn't have months and months to wait to sell at private sale. And basically I figured my dealer was a good place to store it, and they could sell it, and then as they sold it, you could pick up your money. But again, the idea is dealers usually can get more for their equipment for whatever reason than private sellers. So make sure you figure in what price you want to put on your equipment to account for what they're going to take once it's sold. So if I'd ever sell the 560, you've seen the restoration on that, I would bring that to a dealer and put it on consignment, because I've seen what 560s that are in pretty nice shape go for. And a lot of times advertising something like that private sale, it's not going to be the best. Plus, the next thing with a dealer is they can take credit cards, they can finance, they can they have many options to buy something to complete the deal that you might not have at your disposal. So yeah, that's another way. Basically then, the next thing I want to talk about is the different type of customers that you're going to deal with. I'm sure you've all dealt with the guy that calls you up and is trying to negotiate with you on your piece of equipment that you're trying to sell before he even comes out to the farm. Every sale, it seems like you have guys like that. They'll call you up, they'll ask you a couple questions, and they'll say, would you come down on price? So you're gonna get people like that, and what I always say, usually my go-to line is, well, come out and look at it, and if you like what you see, maybe we can work out a deal. And that's usually what I try to do. So if they are serious, they're gonna come out. If they're just somebody looking to make a profit, or just make a quick deal, trying to get a better deal over the phone without looking at it, if they're not serious, they're not going to come and look at it. So that's my go-to line. That'll work for you. Just like I said, say, well, if you come out and look at it, maybe we can work out a deal. Some people get angry when customers do that, but anyway. And like I said, depending on the size of your operation and your financial situation, it might make sense for you to just trade it in, or send it to an auction. Every farm is different, their sizes are different, the incomes are different, bank accounts are different, equipment's different. There is no one size fits all for selling your used equipment. The other thing with customers is you're going to get the guy that comes out and looks it over, and as a seller, try to feel out how much they know about what you're selling them. I've sold some things that I could tell right away people didn't know what they were looking at, and I try not to use that too much to my advantage, as far as to take advantage of the buyer. I try to explain to them what everything does on the machine. And you know, when you start talking about it and telling them how you've used it, and kind of give them a lesson as far as what everything does, that really piques their interest, and they become a very serious buyer, being that you took the time to explain this stuff to them that they didn't know. They learn something new, and it's really a positive for some people to have that experience. So kind of feel them out and see what they know. Ask them questions. Usually when they come, I'll ask them, hey, what kind of farming are you doing, or how much are you farming, or don't be afraid to make small talk. I've gone to buy stuff already, and I show up and the seller doesn't even talk. He'll just, here it is, and you're looking it over, and you're trying to make small talk as the buyer, and there's just nothing nothing being said, or it's kind of a cold, dry experience. Like I say, if you're somebody that's a good talker and can talk a lot, don't be afraid to talk about farming or anything that might interest them. It's only going to help in the end. A lot of salesmen are pretty chatty people. So yeah, I'm getting kind of long here in this video. Those are some of the ways you can sell your used equipment. Like I say, you guys have been great with the comments. You brought up a lot of things that I didn't think about. But one thing I did notice is I was very happy to see that it is kind of universal. Different experiences that I've had, that other people have had. So I'm kind of glad that at least I'm making some sense in that department. Tomorrow's video, I will try to do an overview of the piece of equipment I bought. And I don't want to hype it up too much. It's not like it's that exciting. With $3 corn, I couldn't buy a brand new tractor or anything like that. But I'll definitely do an overview. And I might keep this series going because somebody had asked about doing a video on buying and selling equipment. Like I said, I did that for 2 years. I'll get into that. It's not the best business to be in, and I'll give you some of the ups and downs with doing that. And I'll get into maybe some like a summary video to add on some of the things that were brought up or things I thought of. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more. And this winter I hope to keep doing stuff like this. Hopefully everybody stays interested. Welcome new subscribers, and thanks for watching.